Hi, everybody. So Kelly and I are back together. Yay!
Yay.
And I'm so excited to talk about the energies and the astrology, which is the map of the energies, because wow. So I feel like we are about to pop through the portal. You can call it the birth canal, whatever you want to call it. And there is going to be so much action, is what it feels like to me. So
A
I'm
good
really
word.
excited
It's a
to
good word,
hear.
honey. It's like the word. Yes.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear what is going on. So, how are you?
Okay. Yeah, pretty okay. I did wake up with a tiny little touch of vertigo today, and I had to go for a walk first thing to ground myself. And that is the theme. That is another theme. So
Mhm.
active grounding. So
Yeah.
yeah, so let's talk about this new moon, which is on Sunday, the 27th, and it's um there's a lead up to it that's very interesting because
Mhm.
we have Venus in the morning sky now, and a couple of days before the new moon for the next 8 months.
Wow.
Venus and the crescent moon of the old waning moon are going to be showing in the pre-dawn sky a couple of days before the new moon. And we have that happening on the 25th. And this is a beautiful image. This is one of the most beautiful things in the sky from my point of view, the crescent moon with Venus nearby.
Mhm.
And sometimes Venus is in the cup and sometimes it's drinking out of the cup. It's like, and this goes back to the mythologies of the moon being the man in the moon, like it is in many
Oh,
other
right.
cultures, the man in the moon. It's not a lunar goddess, it's not a that they see it as the man in the moon, and there's Venus, the goddess of love. And
Yeah.
she is also in the morning sky. She's a little more assertive. She puts herself out there. She's saying, "Hey, I'm coming up first, and then the sun." So, so this is a beautiful thing. And the next day, which is Saturday, the day before the new moon, Mars, the action planet, has
Oh.
just gone into the sign of Libra, where it has not been since December or January, and it's opposite Pluto. That's very volatile. This is very volatile. Now that Pluto is in Aquarius, this we're in this new era
Mhm.
with a lot of fresh air and a lot of wind. I don't know if you've been getting a lot of wind, but we've had windy days here.
So much wind. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And Mars is in Leo, which is the fire. We'll get more into that because we've already experienced this once last December. So we are kind of, the planets come back around in these interesting ways.
Mhm.
And we started this whole year of 2025 with retrograde Mars. So the action planet was not moving forward, it was moving backwards and internal, and we were doing a lot of talking about self-care and taking care of yourself and what other people you were taking care of and kind of doing that. And then Mars finally turned forward and it's in Leo again now where it started going retrograde. So it's completing its circle. And this has been for months now that Mars has been in this one section of the sky, and for the third time, it's opposite Pluto, but this is it. And it's like, that's it, we're done. It's a lot about endings.
Mhm.
And even the last full moon we had, there were a lot of people making choices, like your
Yeah.
dad,
Mhm.
about crossing over.
Mhm.
It was a great opportunity and a beautiful energy, actually, to, as you were said, to us crossing the Rainbow Bridge.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
There's
now,
so many. And there's some that are like getting ready to right now. I don't know how many people I've talked to that said they have someone in hospice that they know. or they've seen several of the people that they know pass just
Mm.
recently. It's been
Well,
massive.
one thing about that is that when Pluto changes sign, which is not very often, it goes into a new sign and it's going to be in Aquarius for like 20 years. And some people say, I don't think I signed up for this one. So it's often one of those crossroads things where, things end. And this is a new moon cycle with a lot of endings because Pluto is in on it and a whole dynamic that's sort of, shutting things down. And we're on to the new.
Yeah.
And so it's that old saying, you shut a door and new one opens. It's that kind of thing. So, um, so some people don't sign up for this new one, or you realize in a relationship that I'm going this way and you're going that way. A lot of those sorts of things are going on right now, and this is more now that we're we're in Taurus, and Taurus is the sign of fertile earth. Taurus is your garden full of compost, ready to plant the seeds. And part of the question is, what seeds are you planting? Or more to the point, what seeds are arising in you that
Mhm.
are part of what you want to flourish, what you want to be tending to, in your garden that's coming from a very deep soul-centered place. Because we are in a different energetic that we've been. Because not only was Mars retrograde, but then Mercury went retrograde and Venus went retrograde, and they're finished being retrograde, but they have not finished their circles yet. So
Mhm.
it's another couple of weeks in all of those retrograde circles. Because here it is. So the planet's moving through the zodiac, and then it gets here and it goes backwards and it goes all the way back to here. And then it turns forward and gets back to here. And that's what I mean about the circle.
Mhm.
And so Mars is just about to finish the circle by the end of April. Mercury has just finished its circle, and Venus is going to finish its circle also just in another week or so. So then we can move forward, and we're moving forward with this kind of fertile ground. And if you're
Yeah.
not on fertile ground, find some. This is how deeply can you root, you know?
Mhm.
So shall
Yeah.
I show you the chart, or you
Yeah,
want
absolutely. Yeah.
comments first too?
No, go ahead
Um,
and share the chart. Yeah.
okay. Where are we? So there we are. So there we are. Here we are, I should say. Let's be here now. So here is the chart of the supermoon. It's a supermoon. A supermoon means it looks bigger because well, we won't see it, it's a new moon. But if we could, it would look really big because it's closer to the earth. And this moon is the one that's going to be closer to us this whole entire year. So it brings the energy closer and we feel it more. The moon is what we feel personally. And this is in Taurus. So this is an embodiment sign. This is an earth sign. This is about embodying the energy. So
Mhm.
essentially, this is what this whole new moon cycle is about, this embodying and going deeper into your tree. I think of Taurus as the tree hugger sign, which is why I have a tree in the middle here. This is a beautiful turpentine tree from
Mhm.
the tropics. And Taurus is a deeply rooted tree. And it's an earth sign that digs in. This is a digging deep, digging down kind of moon. And it's in this very interesting dynamic. But I had to share the sleigh without snow phrase because 7 plus or 8 degrees of Taurus, that's the image for
Mm.
this particular degree out of the 360 degrees of the zodiac. And so it's a sleigh without snow, which I think is very interesting. because the snow has just about all melted here in Vermont, where I live. And you can't move a sleigh without snow. So I think it to some extent may refer to, and you see what you think, some of the climate difference that we're experiencing,
Mhm.
um, and some of the seasonal changes and differences that we may be experiencing, may be becoming more active right now.
Yeah, I feel like as we go through this process, which there's a lot of things like in the news with certain trails that are not going to be visible anymore in a lot of different states and things like that, the weather is going to shift into the real weather, which to me, what I always get is that we've
Mm,
been in a basically a terrarium and the weather will start to align with the terrarium idea and it will be 74 in the daytime. I always get 74 degrees and like 50 degrees at night, and we will not experience snow unless we go to the mountains. So, unless you raise the elevation that you're at, you're not going to experience snow.
Now, that's not going to happen right away, is
It'll
it?
be gradual
Yeah.
because I think that they
Yeah.
will have to do that for people in general.
Mm.
But also another factor is that it's not as green here as it normally would be. So we don't have the plant
Mm.
life that we would normally have. So it will take a little while for it to start to shift.
Well,
And
some things grow in the alpine region, so it is going to kind of change the earth in some way. And I
mm,
think it also goes along with, and I don't know, people say, we got off track and the earth is tilted and we might tilt back to be more, where we're supposed to be, if that's really true.
I
And
don't
that would
think it's
change things
true.
as
Yeah.
well.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we have a firmament. And before that, we had a dome. And the dome is gone. And now we have the firmament again. We're starting to see a little bit more oxygen come in, and I think that's going to
Mm.
continue. And
Good.
yeah, so that'll be really good for our brains. It'll be really good for like people are normally, I think, probably much taller than we are. And you can start to see that coming back. Some of those genes are popping up, and all of a sudden there's like a 7'7" guy or whatever. There's people that are not malformed that are very large. And in the past, the ones that were brought to our attention were always like they had some sort of pituitary issue
Mm,
or
mm.
something like that. And we're not seeing that as much as we're just seeing very large people. So
Some
that's
people have
a good
trouble
thing.
believing these things, and we'll just have to see how it unfolds. But we're
Yeah,
in a new era, and it's really important right now, with this planet, Jupiter in Gemini, to be open-minded about possibilities and options. It's like anything could be true.
yeah,
So, you know, it's like you're choosing what are the pieces you want in your puzzle.
right. And digging into change. So just
Digging
like
in.
you're, yeah,
Yes.
rooted in change because it's time for change. And
Absolutely.
we've been resisting it for a really long time, and a lot of resistance is leaving right now.
Taurus can be a bit stubborn. It can kind of dig its heels in. So, but I don't think we're going to be allowed to do that very much because of the pattern of this moon. So just keep grounding and embodying the energy as it comes in and, eat well and eat healthfully. Taurus is a foodie kind of sign. So I think a little bit of indulgence there in a proper, healthy way could be good. And I think that also is talking to kind of some of the larger issues that are being talked about in terms of food. And there's also a couple of factors in this chart that we've been working with for a while that are getting even stronger in terms of food, gardening and farming and food, food
Hmm.
production and how that's all happening. So this is part of the collective consciousness and the way that it's waking up. So this is the moon, and there it is in Taurus. And so let's see. Oh yes, here I wanted to show you another one of my tree friends from the tropics. This is a baobab tree.
Nice.
And they have this huge trunk and they can store water. And so they have a special role in their depth. And this particular tree, several of us would hike up to see this baobab tree, which we nickname Bob. Um, it feels like a real feminine energy to me, though.
Hmm.
And there was a beehive in the back of it. And that hole there, you could kind of sit in it. You couldn't go all the way in, but you could kind of sit in it. It was a very friendly tree. So,
Oh, that's awesome.
so I had to share that with you. So here is the pattern, the main pattern that is in this chart of the new moon. And so we have the moon and sun in Taurus and Pluto in Aquarius. Here's Mars, the action planet in Leo, again, for the first time since early January. And we have, this is the black moon in Scorpio, which I'll talk about a bit. But if it was just these three corners of this square filled in, it wouldn't be as powerful as it is with this corner filled in. Because these signs all are dynamically activating each other in a way that can feel challenging, but absolutely insistent. And these are all signs that are fixed. They all dig down.
Hmm.
Taurus digs down in the earth. Leo is the sustaining fire. It's the energy and vitality. It's a leadership quality, and it's creative. It's a expressive creative sign. And
Hmm.
then this is fixed air, which is how we need more oxygen. It's the air, it's the freedom, it's the wind, it's the freshness of this new era that we're in, and opening the higher mind as
Hmm.
well. So we've got these all activated, and then this is the Scorpio corner, which is the deep, intense water, like a powerful waterfall or a deep dive down to the bottom of the ocean. This is a very intense. All of these things are pretty intense. So the level of intensity here is pretty high. And Pluto um, is in Aquarius now. And it's sort of like, okay, we're done here. We are done with a certain phase and we are planting those seeds. And the wind is whipping them around, and certain things just aren't there anymore. Like with the tornadoes and the hurricanes, certain things are just not there anymore.
Hmm.
And here is Mars in Leo. What will we create? What do you want to create in this new territory we're discovering
Yeah.
and this new consciousness that's opening up? So here is go for the creative energy. Go for, do your thing, express yourself. Now, this can go to extremes when we have Mars opposite Pluto. It's a very volatile combination that it's like I want what I want, and it's very necessary to consider the larger social context of whatever you are expressing and doing because it's not just all about you. One
Hmm.
of the downsides that can come out with this is, I want what I want and I don't care about anybody else. And some people, will be triggered like that. This is a very triggering kind of dynamic in this moon. And
Hmm.
sometimes we just can't help it. We're going to be triggered. So just like use that Aquarian energy to kind of step back, take a breath and go, "Oh, look what just triggered me." Like, okay, I didn't behave very well that time, did I? It's just like watching yourself in your own drama.
Hmm.
That's the beauty of Aquarius. You can step back and see the larger picture. And that's part of what we need to do now. And we're not used to doing it in this way that is now being offered to us.
Yeah, we totally need to do that. Be the observer in your own life.
Be
Really
the
important.
observer. Yeah. The witness mind.
Hmm.
Um, And then the Scorpio. So what we have in Scorpio is Black Moon, which is a deep soul essence, the creative spark of our soul, and where that soul source of creativity comes from. And that's another, it's not a digging deep, it's a diving deep to this place inside ourselves that is not about the ego that can get all, tweaked out of, kind of being heartfelt.
Yeah.
Leo rules the heart. And sometimes when we're being selfish, our ego takes over because we're used to letting the ego run us. So this is another call to a deeper embodiment that's coming from this deep soul space that's sort of like one of the mysteries of who it is we really are.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
it comes from the divine. It's our divine source. It's where we are, where that divine essence within us gets activated. And that is the potential of this new moon cycle, the whole 28 days of this moon cycle. So we don't have another new moon until May 26th.
Got it.
So this is the moon cycle we're in, and this is the Taurus, the manifestation, the earth energy, the what do you want to have to show for it? This is that kind of thing. Taurus wants to have something that it's done, that's tangible, and this is why it's about embodiment, and it's a very creative energy. And we
Hmm.
are creating our lives, whatever art you do or whatever you love in terms of creativity and artistry, creating your life is the thing. And it's like we're creating a new society now or a new way of being together. So that is a grand, quite awesome creative expression that we're all called to participate in. And like you said, dig in, lean in.
Hmm.
So
It's time. It's time for people to lean in and to create what they came here for. And I feel like as we come through that portal, people are going to become very focused. And I can feel it now already, like how focused I am on wanting to create the things that are going to help us,
mm,
like, create this new world that we're, as the old world is falling apart, which is very obviously that it's being dismantled right now, um, building what we want to see in the world
yes,
versus what we've been
yes.
unhappy with. So it's time to let go of the unhappiness and enjoy the
Oh,
creation
yes.
of the new. Yeah.
Let's have some fun. Leo is about
Yeah.
fun. I had a Leo friend, she could make anything fun. And
Mhm.
you said focus, and these are all signs that really focus. They're fixed signs. They really like scope in. So this is focus is a really good word to be using. So this is the main pattern. I mean, the using the black moon is not what everybody uses, but it's so essential to
Mhm.
fulfill what is possible here. And then if we add a few more factors, it becomes more interesting. So we're going to add a few more factors to the same dynamic, and we're going to add Haumea, the goddess of childbirth, to the black moon. So we talked about the soul spark essence
Mhm.
that the black moon represents and how Maya is the creative womb where that soul spark is placed by the divine mother for every lifetime. So this is a beautiful uh, gestation of this soul spark energy and what is rising from deep inside of you. And this is where that's coming from. It's not like you can think it at first. It's like this deeper passion of creativity, comes from Eros. Eros is the erotic life force that comes from a deep place of love and creates. So
Mhm.
this is just a powerful combination. And then over here joining Mars, the heroic, kind of energy, the leadership, creative, be a good example for everyone. Be your
Mhm.
best self, in other words. Um, Varuna. Now we were talking about Varuna some months ago. And in fact, we had this same pattern going on just about. I want to show you that in a minute, but a little bit more about Varuna, which is the ancient Vedic god that has to do with creative order, like the
Mhm.
cosmic order and what is just and true and in harmony with the universal law. So this is busting people who are not living according to nature's law, to the cosmic law. This is really gonna, be exposing some of the corruption here,
Yeah.
especially the corruption in leadership.
Mhm.
So that adds to this kind of getting more obvious about if you're an ego-based person who is in service of self, or if you're a heart-based person that's in service of others, or the whole. And it also is about, are you still in coming from fear? Are you still hesitating? Are you still fearful? And whatever is fearful in you may also be exposed,
Mhm.
which we need. If we still harbor these little corners, that we're not sure, we doubt, or we're afraid to be who we are and to express our creative fullness in our hearts, then, we need to sweep that out. So this moon is partly about that, and come from, again, from our best self.
Yeah.
And that would be from love.
So important.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Dig around. If you find any little fearful spots, then it
Yeah.
is time to let them go now. It really
Yes.
is. Yeah.
Yes, and some of them are tiny little fears.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them are like bigger ones, like, oh my God, the world's crashing. You know, the old world is crashing. But this is where we need to like feel that emergence that's coming from someplace inside of us that's keeping us here to help create this new earth, which Taurus is about earth.
Yep.
And so we are definitely, kind of pruning some of the dead branches off the tree so there can be, more fertile growth.
Mm-hmm.
So if we look back, so I want to reinforce the Mars Varuna in Leo, opposite Pluto in Aquarius. So, and then we have Haumea and the Black Moon. So this dynamic was the same dynamic that we were experiencing. Here, if you were around, listening to me and Honey in December, this was the full moon energy, how Maya and Mars were together at that point. And here's the graphic I shared. I got it right off that December full moon slide deck, so to speak. And
Mm-hmm.
this is about, so we're back to action. We've gone through a deep inner checking in with ourselves and nurturing ourselves and feeling out things. And now, all right, onward we go. So this is being you. And here's the chart from the full moon in December.
Yep. Wow.
So there's the Mars Varuna, almost the same numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the black moon, and Haumea was there as well. Haumea was at 2 degrees of Scorpio. It's now at 2 degrees of Scorpio again because of the way the that we move with the other planets and they seem to go backwards from our point of view, which is a reflection of the process we live and we experience. So we take some time to work with an energy. And then here's Pluto in Aquarius. So the same thing was going on back back then.
Hmm. And that was
Coming,
super intense.
pardon?
That was so intense at that point.
It
So,
was.
yeah.
It was. That's the same intensity we're reliving, but
Hmm.
we're at a different we've gone through a lot
Yeah.
between then and now, have we not? Have
Yeah. We're
we?
in a different layer for sure.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes. Timeline jumping for sure. So, and this couple is doing that right there.
Yes.
So here we are, back here. So we have this corner now, which is the Taurus corner of grounding, of manifesting. Let's build it, build it and they will come, whatever that movie was talking about. This is the starting to build it. This is the tending the seeds that are already starting to sprout. This is if you're in the southern hemisphere, you're deciding what you're going to put in the ground to
Hmm.
have grow. So this is this new moon cycle. And this is, get right to it because it's happening. And doors have closed. We can't go back. I mean, some people know that literally, and
Yeah.
others know that our lives have changed immensely and there
Hmm.
is no going back. And that can cause a little grief, more than a little grief, you know,
Hmm.
because, there were good things about this, how we used to live, and they're gone. And some people are going to miss their Twinkies. And, we just will get some kind of really good dark chocolate going.
Yeah. There's lots of ways that you can have goodies and happiness in the future with an adjusted point of view.
Yes.
So, are you going to have Twinkies? No, but you could still have an amazing pastry that's actually good for you.
Absolutely. And your body's going to tell you anyway.
Hmm.
Your body's going to tell you. Taurus is like, okay, you ate too much. Or it's going to tell you, oh, look, these carrots coming right out of the ground taste so much better than the ones I've been getting at the store.
Hmm.
They come from who knows where, with who knows what sprayed on them.
Yeah.
So that kind of thing, the earth is and her bounty will save the day. So this is a big part of this. This is a really intense pattern, and it's, a volatility that we experience, on mentally, physically, emotionally, well, emotionally and spiritually
Oh,
with the
yeah.
four elements. So, but the earth is also, this is earth, and she's going to be a little volatile too. So, as much as we can really feel how we're planted into the earth and down to the core of the earth, that's also going to help steady us,
Hmm.
help ground us, help us feel more secure, which Taurus likes. There's not a whole lot of security at the moment in certain ways, and that's partly what we have to find in ourselves and
Yes.
how we're anchoring into that soul spark energy as well.
Hmm. Yeah. Any grounding that you can do, and I'm glad that it's getting warmer.
Yes, me too.
There's grounding mats, there's grounding sheets, there's all this grounding stuff that you can get, but nothing really compares to just sticking your feet on the ground. So if you can do that every day, it's going to really change the way
Hmm.
that your body deals with all of this stuff and really connecting to Mother Earth at the same time. So going down into the core and saying, hi, I'm here. I'm, integrating with you so that I can help anchor in
Yeah,
this
yeah.
new earth, basically. Yeah.
And if you can't put your feet on the earth, you can always hug a tree.
Yes. You can hug a tree.
Yeah.
And they love it.
They may whisper things to you.
Yeah, they absolutely love it.
Yeah, and this is getting more in touch with nature on levels that we can be more intimate and that we haven't experienced before as well, come to think of it.
Yeah,
So
so
there's
good.
one more pattern that we must look at because it's very important. And it's these planets in Pisces over here.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. It's a lot
Now
of stuff.
this series, we've been experiencing that too.
Mhm.
So I said earlier that we're going to have um, that 2 days before this new moon, the moon would be back here, very close to Venus in the morning sky before the sun comes up.
Mhm.
So that's important. And then I said on the next day, which is Saturday, is when Mars is going to be 1 degree earlier at 3. So it's going to be exactly opposite Pluto, and that's a lot of volatility there. Is that the day that they're having the funeral for the Pope or something?
I don't know, maybe, but there's gonna be some big shifts
This is
because,
this is a big shift. This is like telluric. This
yeah.
is kind of deep.
Well, if
This is
you think
deep
about
Earth
it, there were
energy. Mhm.
three big, like, autonomous and not in the highest good of humanity places, and the Vatican being unseated is, the last one. So we're really in a whole different world that we're coming into. And if they're going to do it on Saturday, then they're just they're showing us,
Yeah,
it's a show. Yeah.
that's one of the doors that's closing.
Hmm.
And this Mars in Leo is full of drama. There's
Oh
going to be
yeah.
a lot of drama. And it would have been a whole week ago that the sun was not quite a week ago that the sun was squaring Pluto. So we've this Pluto, this the endings, the cutting the cord, the finishing it off, the closing the door. And this is like doors are slamming here. This
Yeah.
is like big drama. Slam the door. I'm not coming back to that kind of thing.
Yeah. People are sick of it. They're done. And
Yeah.
the energy of how long it took and also the resistance to the change has
Yeah.
really started to lift away. And as that, continues, we're getting so close to coming through the portal
Yeah.
of the new,
Mm.
and people are not going to want to go back.
No, there's not going to be a way to go back unless you have a self-destructive streak.
Yeah.
So this Pisces energy, we have been having, and it's involving several factors that we've been tracking for a bit, and that includes first of all Ceres, and she's a Gaia Earth energy in terms of water and of land and land use and the bedrock beneath the earth. These are like the seabeds rising. These are farmland. This is how we're using water. This is, and a couple of times I've introduced us here to Teron Wako, which is an Iroquois creator god right with Ceres right now. And he was a farmer god, is one of his mythic roles, or legendary roles, let us say. So that goes along with the series. There's a lot of attention to farmland, farming, animal husbandry, the whole thing with the eggs, this is
Oh,
all part of this moon and the responsibility that Saturn says you need to take care here. You need to take responsibility. This is the leading edge of collective consciousness right now. This is where the North Node is in terms of human evolution and destiny. This is the leading edge. We start over here with Virgo, with our bodies, with nature and the rhythms of nature, and we use those to inform us as to how to move with responsibility, with a maturity in terms of what needs to happen, what
mhm.
needs to take place. Saturn's about reality check. This needs to happen now, kind of
Yeah.
thing. And Ceres can be an advocate for those who aren't being taken care of, which can be different life forms or species or, whatever that is. So there's that, and there's Venus there. This is a beautiful, unconditional love place for Venus to be. And she's been here several times in the last couple of months as well. But now it's Saturn saying, okay, it's time to get really serious here. We need to really forgive ourselves for not being perfect, for what we have missed in the past, for what we have not, just to forgive ourselves and others. This is that unconditional love. This is what it's taking right now to get where we need to go. Because so there's this
Yeah.
volatility, this anger, this like people mad about all sorts of things. And here's this like, let the waters flow, go with the flow. That time is ending, let it go. Oh, so this is just being kind to yourself and others.
Yep. And really looking at your own integrity.
Yes.
That is huge right now. And it means looking at, am I having integrity for myself?
Mm-hmm.
And then am I having integrity in my work, whatever it is? And am I having integrity with others? So those, like, we know what that means. And that's part of sovereignty. It's part of being really honest.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's the kind of thing that that God, who I can't pronounce his name.
Varuna. Oh,
Yeah,
there's Ron Huapco though, too. Yeah.
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 They're very focused on that. And
Yeah.
that's also what RFK is bringing in is integrity in those systems. And we're going to see so much change happen over the next few
Yeah.
years. But also, all those systems are going to be exposed, and that's happening right
Mhm.
now.
Well, you mentioned RFK Jr., who has a very strong series in his astrology chart, and
Mhm.
he's been an advocate for water, like, for decades. And
Yeah.
when you mention integrity in terms of astrology, I think of the sign of Aries. And we have Neptune now in Aries, just went into Aries a month or two ago, a
Mhm.
new 14-year cycle. Mercury's in Aries. It's back where it started going retrograde. And there's Selassie, the sparkling mermaid, in there too. And Chiron, the healing energy, is about standing in our integrity, in our self center, so that we are centered and we're not leaning out to accommodate other people or leaning like, not
Yeah.
giving ourselves full due, or compromising in a way that's not good for us and dilutes our fire and our energy and our vitality. So this is partly the integrity, and Venus is going to be moving into Aries, I think in 2 days after this moon. Let me see if I can get that clear because that'll be good to know. Venus goes into Aries, yeah, the last day of this month. And that's next Wednesday. And this is definitely that integrity. This she's moving out of Pisces into Aries with Neptune. And this is like spiritual integrity. This
Mhm.
combination of Venus and Neptune is the divine feminine. There's so much divine feminine here, but we also have the Mars, Pluto, oh, power of the masculine.
Mhm.
And this is heart-based power
Yeah.
at best. You know, that doesn't mean there's not corruption or people who are doing that selfish thing and are just don't even feel for other people.
But we're phasing that out.
We're
Yeah.
absolutely figuring that out, and that energy is disappearing and kind of being dissolved in the waves of the light coming in.
Mhm. Yeah. It is time to step into your own power
Yeah.
right now. And there's, it means be who you are, be who you came here to be.
Well,
And
and that's the
yeah,
integrity too. You know,
that's
some
the
people don't
integrity.
like that power thing. They're afraid of the power, and you can use the word integrity or who you truly are, your true self,
Yeah.
your divine soul spark, you know, if you have a little trouble with that word, but see if you can see if you can bring it bring it to,
Right. But we are powerful. I mean, that's why we're here.
yes.
We came to Earth to share the powerful being that we are so that we can ascend the human race. Like, that's what we're here for.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
power to me is like all the knowledge, all the light that lives within you. So it's a really beautiful thing. And to
Mm,
some, it has felt not great because it's been being under somebody else's thumb.
right.
But we're breaking free of that right now. So,
Yes, and this is
yeah,
trusting yourself enough to not abuse that power,
right.
but to be in integrity and in cosmic law so
Mhm.
that you are fulfilling, the whatever purpose or dharma, as they
Mhm.
say, your spiritual reason for being.
Yeah. And to do everything that you can, I mean, everything that you do should be with love.
Mm,
And, that will bring in the integrity and
yeah,
you will know you're going to feel in your body if it's not right,
absolutely.
totally. Yeah.
Yeah. Our bodies are like dowsing rods.
Hmm.
They can tune in to where the energy is, where the water is, where the power is, where the truth is, where the love is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. I love this. This is great.
Yeah.
And what a great tree.
Isn't that a beautiful tree?
Hmm.
It did come down in a hurricane a few years ago,
Oh.
but really a beautiful tree.
Hmm.
So, yeah, what a moon we're coming to here, and I'm glad to share it with you, honey.
Oh, me too.
For
I'm so
everybody.
glad that we were able to do this today. And that I feel like for me that I've come through a pretty big portal myself and things are shifting a little bit. Like I'm gonna probably be doing things slightly differently in different ways. Um, but it's gonna get better and better all the time,
Yeah. Yes.
like it means some of the videos might be actually outside, not in a room. you know,
Yay.
like that kind of stuff. Like things are going to be maybe more interactive in some of the things that
Yeah.
I do. So I'm excited for the world right now. And I'm excited to help build the foundation of the new world. I think
Yeah,
that's what we're all excited
you
for.
asked me earlier about the solar flash and if the impact of the solar flash had rippled through. And I
Mhm.
do think that when Venus goes into Aries and meets Neptune, um, basically on the 30th, the 1st of May, right in there, I think that would be an indication of more of the freshness, the new start energy, and
Yeah.
the original blueprints coming back in more obviously. But I
Mhm.
think it's still a bit of an ongoing process. I think maybe another round or another level too.
Yeah, it feels softer to me.
Mhm.
So when I talked about the solar flash, it was supposed to all be in one day. And a lot of people were gonna disappear, like basically not be able to handle it. And a lot of people were going to sleep for like a month, and you wouldn't be able to function very well.
Mm,
So the solar flash actually got stretched out, and we've been doing it since 2023. And that's what all the intense ascension symptoms are, and all of that that we've been experiencing. And we get big pushes every once in a while. And I feel like this is the last really intense push to basically break through programming. And
mm,
things after this will be softer because we hit the hardest part of it, where a lot of people choose to go and not be here anymore. And because they couldn't break through the resistance. And that may be because the body was too fragile and couldn't let
mm,
go of the
mm,
programming. Or it could be that, this was their plan, which, usually it is their plan. But also, there's a multitude of reasons. And we already lost a huge chunk
mm.
of resistance when we split. But this was the last big chunk of resistance. And a
Of
lot of people
resistance.
chose to ascend without their body,
Mm,
you
mm,
know. And that's what I see. And I see them, at least with my father, I see the happiest being, so pleased, and constantly contacting me and other people.
mm, mm.
So it's not the end for them. It's just they don't have a body. And they are so happy to contribute still from across the veil, which the veil doesn't really exist anymore. We just think it does. So we're like in a massive change point. And I'm
Yeah.
really, really happy that we're finally here, because it feels like things are going to be softer than they have been, because they've
Well,
been
there's a
pretty harsh.
soft energy coming in June for sure.
Good, good.
And it's gonna still push us forward. We're still
Oh,
growing,
yeah, we'll still be
you
going
know?
forward,
Yeah.
but it won't be so painful.
Mm.
That's what
Yeah.
I feel. Yeah,
There's still some big changes to come. I mean, but
massive
well,
change.
yeah. Yeah, we want that because we don't want it left where it is for
Oh,
sure.
no, it won't be left where it is, but it will be
Yeah.
kinder. And also, I don't feel like it'll be as hard on the body.
Well, there's that.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's that.
Yeah,
Well, if
because
we
the
better food
body
and
has
water,
been
that'll help.
pushed to the limit. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Mm.
so good. I love this. This was great. Thank you so much, Kelley.
Oh,
So tell
such
us what
delight.
you're doing right now. I know you're,
Oh,
yeah.
well, I'm trying to finish my book on Pluto
Oh,
and
good.
that it's changed sign and what it means to your Pluto generation because Pluto's in a sign for a period of time.
Hmm.
So like I have Pluto in Leo, and that's people mostly the 40s into the 50s. And what does this mean to me?
Hmm.
And then, if you have Pluto in Libra, that's people mostly born in the 70s into the 80s a little bit. What does that mean to you? Your Pluto's going to get activated and your generation is coming to a different agenda.
Hmm.
You're being called in. What does this mean to you? And especially right now for the people who were born in like 83 and 4 and 5, Pluto is way active and this new moon is a real call to action. So that is, yeah, they're having their Pluto challenge of their lifetime. Their
Wow.
Pluto generation that's very powerful because
Hmm.
they have Pluto in Scorpio. They are being called to really step up and do their amazing, amazing wizard work. Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah.
I love that.
So
So
that's what I'm writing about.
I
And
love it. And
yeah,
you're on Substack.
I'm on
I'll just
Substack.
put your link below for your
Okay.
website. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, my website's still around, but I do a lot on Substack right now. I love the creative and energy of that.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, it's beautiful.
And I'll
Well,
put this video on that too. That's where I put
good, good.
this. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody, for watching, and just take care of yourself. And as soon as you feel that change coming in, root down so that
Yeah.
you're
Hug a
grounded.
tree, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Bye, everybody.